Welcome, 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 everybody, to another special edition of Maker Monday. I know many of you have been here before, but for those who are just joining us, we're excited to introduce you to another Go Imagine seller who I'm going to be talking with here. As you all already know, Go Imagine is the world's first marketplace to donate 100% profits to charity, and we are focusing on handmade items. What that means is that we can't do this without our makers. And that's why every Monday we want to bring to you another maker who has joined us and is helping push our mission forward with some fantastic things that they're making and talk a little bit about their journey on To Go Imagine. So without further ado, let me bring in here to introduce you to Valerie Barr from Pegasus Pizzazz. What's up, Valerie?
Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Thank you, John.
Wonderful. Yeah, we're excited to have you because, Valerie, I know you've been with us since the beginning, and you have been a very, very active seller on Go Imagine, which I, of course, love to see. and I thought, what better than to learn more about you and talk to you and share you with the world here.
I've been very blessed since I've met Go Imagine, no doubt. It's a great platform, and I've been fortunate to make a lot of sales.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for that. So let's start off with the basics. Let's start off with where you're from and how long you've been a maker and how long you've been selling online.
Certainly. I live in Minnesota, not far from the cities, the Twin Cities, but I don't live in the city anymore. It's not my thing. Anyway, I have been making stuff since I was a child. My mom taught me how to crochet when I was just a little thing. She taught me how to do the chain strings that used to hold mittens on for those of us who are from back in the day.
So you wouldn't lose them, right? So you wouldn't lose your man. It would just like drag behind you.
Right.
Yeah.
This is way before they had the things you could buy in the store now that just clip on the coat. They didn't have this back then. So I graduated from that and learned how to do more and more and more. And it's always been my passion and my favorite go-to thing. And from there it snowballed. I make a lot of different things, and I love to create new things. I just love it.
Yeah, it seems like you love using your hands. Now, crochet seems like a very difficult thing. You've been doing that literally since you've been 4 years old. Was there any period of time where you stopped crocheting, or it's been kind of your thing your entire life was to make things through crochet?
Oh, no. I've done all kinds of stuff. I got into when I was in I want to say 11, 12, the tween years. Okay. I had an aunt and uncle who taught me how to do the plastic canvas things where you make the tissue box covers.
Oh, okay.
Seen those?
I have, yeah.
I got really into that for a long time, and then I went back to crocheting. And then when I got to be a young adult, I really got into cross stitch, and I thought they was so beautiful and elegant, and I wanted to learn how to do that. And I loved it, but it's hard on your eyes. Mm-hmm. And I went back to crocheting. And so that's this was the thread crochet. That was my my way to get the elegance that I liked from the cross stitch and still be able to do crochet. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that because we were talking earlier, and you introduced something new to me I hadn't known before. Is that with crochet, I always think of your traditional crochet, but you were saying how there's a different type of thread versus yarn. Can you tell me more about what that means?
Yes. Okay, so this is regular yarn. Okay. And you can see that it's fairly thick. Mm-hmm. So when you make something out of yarn, like a hat or a blanket or a sweater, it sews up pretty quick. Okay. It's big and it doesn't take long. This now is crochet thread, and it's very thin. Okay. So I was showing you this doily down here. I don't know if you can see it very well from the camera angle, the size of it. I would say that size of a thread crochet doily would take the same amount of time as a very, very intricate baby blanket out of yarn.
And that's just because the thread is much thinner?
Right. Okay. So behind me, my masterpiece, this Mandala Tablecloth, this took me an entire summer to do, and this is all out of thread. So, I love it. It's fun.
That's incredible. And so with the thread, lets you get a little more fine detail. Is that what the thread allows you to do?
Yes, it has the more lacy look, the doilies that
Mm-hmm.
look the very your grandma used to probably make them very
Yeah.
lacy and frilly, and I make them with a bit of a more modern touch with the bright colors and the fun textured designs.
Okay. Do you use the same is it needles or hooks? I know that's like crochet. Do you use the same are they called needles or hooks? I can't remember which.
They're called hooks,
Yeah.
and I'm sure I have two different sizes right here somewhere.
Well, I mean, you don't have to dig them out, but do you use different ones for thread than you do for the yarn?
Yes.
Okay.
Different sizes. I do have them. So this is a yarn hook, and this is a thread hook. Can you see the different size?
Can you just put them a little closer to the? Would you? Yeah, there you go. Okay, gotcha. Well, that's fantastic. And so you've been doing this your entire life, and obviously you got to the point where you decided to sell them online. Now, tell me again, how long have you been actually selling online?
I started selling online last fall. I've been making things all my adult life, and as I was telling you earlier, there comes a point in time when you can't make anything else for yourself. You just don't have any space left. And so you give it away as gifts. There's weddings and birthdays and baby showers and whatever, and you just run out. And
right.
My sister told me to start selling it. And I thought, well, do you think really people would want to buy my stuff? And she says, oh yeah, for sure. So she brought it with her to her work because she works in a corporate world, and lots of women out there who would be really interested in the kinds of things I was making. And they all told her to get me on Etsy. They said, oh my gosh, you have to get your sister on Etsy.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, I'll look into it. And it wasn't as big of a expense as I thought, and it was simple. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to go for it, and I started a online shop last fall, and I did okay. And then I found Go Imagine, which is much more in line with my own values and ideals, and I got really excited. And so now I'm promoting most of my stuff through Go Imagine, but I keep my Etsy shop just for the organic traffic.
Well, which is wonderful. I mean, as you build your business, it's always smart to be in different places because different people will go shopping in different places, and you want to be in both of them, which is great. And I do appreciate. I think a lot of makers that are coming to Go Imagine are like you, where it's not just about the business; it's all about their values, and it's all about doing something better in the world while still selling online like you would have been anyway.
Exactly.
So obviously it feels to me like there's been a lot of influence from your family. We talked about your mom early on. You mentioned your uncle and aunt, and then you mentioned that your sister just kind of pushed you as well. So is it safe to say that really your entire life, your family's been nudging you into the direction of eventually getting into this business?
Absolutely. I have a very big family, and for the most part, it's a close, tight-knit family. There's, issues like with any family here and there.
Right.
But yeah, they absolutely have always had a big influence on me.
Right. Well, there's no such thing as a perfect family. In fact, I think if I see a family that looks perfect, I'm more scared about them than anybody else.
Yeah. Right.
That's when you're like, there's clearly something wrong with this family. They look too good to be true.
Right.
So tell me, besides picking up, have you ever had any formal training? I mean, how did you get into all this? Has it really just been trial and error and learning from people as you go?
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I had, like I said, family members who taught me the basics, and then I went out and researched and looked at pattern books or nowadays online and figured it all out for myself, because I think if you're a maker at heart, you can pick up most things pretty simply. And if you don't have that, if you just don't have that desire to really want to learn how to do something, you're just not gonna with anything in life.
You know what? I could not agree with you more. I mean, I've always felt that way. I've always been in business, not specifically a maker, but a lot of times if you just do it, you get better at it the more you do it, right? And you eventually learn everything as you go. And of course, you can pick things up along the way as you get more experience, but
Right.
there's no better way to learn than to start doing it.
Right.
So before we jump into your shop, because I have to admit, you have probably one of the more eclectic shops on Go Imagine than anybody else. There's wonderful things there and very different things there. But before we jump into the actual shop, I want to hear more about the name. Tell me why you call yourself Pegasus Pizzazz.
Oh, no, the Pegasus is very, very meaningful to me. It has been for a very long time. I think of it as my spirit animal. It's
Okay.
Well, some personal things from my past, but it's all about independence and freedom and very, very fierce loyalty. And if you've ever done any research on what the old meanings are behind it, it's very much me.
That's wonderful. And I think that's great too, because some businesses, which is fine, just make up a name and it's a name they like. And other times you might have a name that really has meaning to you. And in this case, the name actually has a lot of meaning to you, which is fantastic because you're getting to promote a brand now that has meant a lot to you for a very long time.
For sure.
Which is great.
I love it.
And when
naming my shop for the first time, I mean, it just popped out. There was no even thinking about it. It was like a 30-second, and I've never regretted it. I love it. I love it. It's perfect for me.
Yeah. No, I can imagine. It goes with what you have. And now any meaning behind Pizzazz, or was it just that it's Pegasus? I love Pegasus, and you got a lot of cool stuff.
The pizzazz, that's also me. That's the sparkle and the fun and the unusual and the flash. And yep, it has to have all that.
Yeah, and I have to ask you as well. So you like obviously the Pegasus. Earlier today we talked you about a dog, and then I keep hearing birds in the background. So I have to imagine you like animals in general.
I do love animals. I've always loved animals, and yep, I have exotic finches in a small aviary here. There's a couple parrot finches and a couple lady Gouldian finches.
Wow.
And my daughter's Chihuahua is upstairs because otherwise she'd be bothering us a lot. And that's all we have for now.
Do you find the birds?
Pardon?
Do you find the birds to be a calming influence? Oh, I'm sorry, I broke up for a second. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
I was saying, do you find the birds to be a calming influence when you're making?
I do. I had parakeets in the past, and they are screech, and they're really loud, and they would get in my head, and not so much. But these birds, they don't sing quite like a canary, but they're much more quiet, and they do trill, which is sort of like a song. And so, it's just uplifting. I love them.
Great. That's fantastic. So let's talk about what you sell. Because as I mentioned, you have a lot of eclectic things here. So let me bring up your store. And again, you can find Valerie as Pegasus Pizzazz on Go Imagine. And if we go through your shop, as I mentioned, you have a lot of different things. You were selling face masks, as I think a lot of makers were during the pandemic.
Some of those up here.
Yeah, very, very bittersweet experience where there's people buying so many masks. But then I noticed that, you started making things like this, which made me think that you're really keeping things, I'll call it topical, where, you're making flags. So tell me about the graduation flag, because I know you've been selling a bunch of those on Go Imagine.
Yes. So my son graduated this year, and I started to join some Facebook groups and some other things with all these parents who were feeling the same way as me, and our hearts are breaking for these poor kids who lost out on prom and the last few days of senior high school, the overnight party, and the graduation itself. And all I could think of is there's got to be something I can do to help not only my son, but all these other kids in my community and other ones. And it dawned on me, you know what? They're having drive-through graduations. Let's get these kids some pizzazz. Honestly.
Right.
And so I started to make these car flags with the graduate's name on them so they can feel special. And people loved them. They went over really big. So I started to make some more for happy birthdays and just married and probably do some political stuff going forward as we get closer to November. And
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. I didn't think of that, Eric, because I've been doing a lot of drive-by birthday parties. Are those happening in Minnesota as well?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
They haven't caught on. Those flags haven't caught on as much, but I'm thinking that they will. I need to market them more, I think.
Mm-hmm. So obviously, it seems like you're keeping things topical. You're thinking about, what's the next season, what's the next thing people are buying. But then you have a lot of things that are not, I would call, topical. You have a lot of just fun things that can be used for many different reasons. Yes. One item in particular, or one style of item we haven't talked about yet during this interview, is your, I think obsession is a bad word, your excitement over feathers.
Yes, I love the feathers.
They're my favorite. Tell me more about when you started getting into these and when this became a thing for you as the feathers.
Okay. So I may have told you this before, but necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Yes.
And so your budget is the mother of what you can own. So my former career was in technical project management, and that came to an end with a car accident many years ago. And as a result, my budget was very, very diminished. And so I was going to a store, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years ago, something like that. And I found feather trees in the store. And I found them up, and I had to own these feather trees, but my budget couldn't do it. And so I just went home sad, and I was pretty much obsessing about this whole thing. And so I decided I'm going to learn how to make them.
Okay.
Because I want some. And so I started to make them and did more and more and more until I totally perfected it. And so that's when I started to make these feather trees, and they sell pretty good around Christmas time, but I love them all year round in the different colors. These are my home colors.
So show that a little closer, because I just took this off. I want to see it. So that's perfect. So that's the feather trees you sell now. Those look very Dr. Seuss-ish to me. Kind of like if Dr. Seuss had a Christmas tree.
Yep.
I like it. And you do them in all different colors and different sizes, it looks like, as well.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. And then from there, I got into this. I'm like, oh, I'm loving the feathers. This is so fun. They're so fun to work with. What else can I make with feathers? Yeah. So that's when I realized, you know what? I bet I could make flowers out of these. And so I taught myself how to do it. And I did. And got some little pistils for the centers and wire stems and different feathers.
And just started making.
Realized that, you know what, I can make some very, 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 very pretty flowers. So this is one without leaves yet, but eventually it would have green leaves and be wrapped stem, and put it into a centerpiece such as this one. This is that's not in my store. This is in my own home, but I think there's another one.
Yeah, let's pop that up. There's some other various ones here. I mean, now these are you're calling them the high heel centerpieces, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I want to talk about your teacups too, because again, you have stuff that is I would say very unique. Now a high heel centerpiece. Is this something that you come up with? I mean, I have to admit I've not seen one of these before. Is this something you've bumped upon or you came up with?
I did. I decided I wanted to do one, and I started to look at Pinterest. I'm like, oh, it's not even my invention. Somebody else has been doing this. But I'm an 80s girl, and high heels will be part of me until the day I'm 92. It's just who we all are from the 80s, and I love them. So that's my passion.
Now, if by saying you're an 80s girl, is it safe to assume, and I have to ask, that at some point you bedazzled a jean jacket?
Yeah.
Like you're talking about 80s girls, and you've got like the rhinestones and all this, and I can just imagine you with like an acid wash, like jeans and bedazzled
big sleeves, and
yeah, very, very classic 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So these centerpieces are extremely unique, and it's funny how you said you you thought like you've done it before, and then you're like, I mean, you're the one who invented it. Then you find out someone else did it too, because great minds think alike. Others thought of it as well.
Well, it kind of gave me. I'm like, oh, I feel like I am not such a weirdo for liking this now.
You're validated. You've been validated that.
Yes, exactly.
Other people are interested. Yeah, and it's I'll tell you though, sometimes the more unique things are the ones that sell more. And I say that because you're not in the crowd so much, right? Things that are more traditional, you're competing against 1,000, 10,000, a million other sellers, right?
Right.
But for someone who wants something that's unique that only you and a couple other sellers make, it's a smaller market, but there's a lot less people making it.
Sure.
Which leads me to what I call your Mad Hatter Alice in Wonderland items. I really think a lot of your stuff is very Alice in Wonderland-esque, is what I'll call it, because I just think it falls in that genre. But so what about your, what would you call this? Your teacup spilling flowers, or your floating teacup?
It's a floating teacup.
Okay.
And I love them. Those were my new passion. I want to say, right around January, February time, I discovered the idea of making these, and I made several, and I've sold a few, and I think I have 3 or 4 in my shop right now, and each one is unique. So, when one sells, I just have to make something brand new.
Yeah, well, I mean, so where do you get the teacups? Are they vintage, or how do you get the teacups?
The teacups are vintage. I look for those, in the thrift stores or antique sales or whatnot. And then some I do with feather flowers, and others I do with silk flowers. It kind of depends on what inspires me at the moment.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, like, every time you make something new, it just seems like it's completely unique from the last thing. Is this, I have to ask, is sending a floating teacup through the mail hard to ship?
You'd think so. But I use a lot of bubble wrap and a lot of those air-filled plastic pillows.
Yes. Okay.
Packaging. I save all that stuff and recycle and reuse. And I shipped 2 of them to one woman, and I was so scared to have 2 of them in one box.
Right.
And they made it, and I got a 5-star review out of it. So she was happy.
Great. No, that's fantastic. Because that again, looking at those, that would be my only concern is, how am I going to ship these? When it gets there broken, you're like, oh, it's the do-it-yourself kit. You didn't know that? It was no, this is great. So tell me about what the future looks like for you. You've been doing it now for, we said, about 10 months. What is your ultimate goal that you want to get to someday?
Well, I have big dreams.
Okay. That's good.
I recently leased space at a boutique in St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin, and I have a lot of my stuff there.
Okay.
And that's called Sisters She Shop Unique and Boutique, and that's in St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin. And they have a very cool business model. They rent small spaces to various vendors, and then the vendors can, sell their stuff and go on their way.
Okay.
Well, I think I want to do something similar. I want to have my own shop, my own brick and mortar shop, and I'm going to do a bit of a philanthropic spin to it. I'm really excited about the idea in my head. But I got to sell a lot more feather flowers until I can do that.
Well, yeah, first off, I love to hear that. The philanthropic aspect is one that is very important to us at Go Imagine, and it's not surprising to me that makers like you are finding it to be important as well. So you're thinking about someday doing your own shop, but right now, and I just brought it up here, it's called Sisters She Shop Boutique and Unique, which is where is it in Wisconsin?
St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin. So that's right on the border of Minnesota and Wisconsin.
All right. So you're living. So I'm guessing you're living on the border as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The Twin Cities is right next to Wisconsin.
Okay. And so if anyone wants to see your items up close and personal, they can visit Sister She Shop in St. Croix, Wisconsin, and get to see your table and a lot of the items that you sell there as well, correct?
Absolutely. And there's lots of cool stuff in there for anybody local. You really should check it out. It's so fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, it looks like it's probably a very, if you're at it, I'm assuming it's a very eclectic shop, having an eclectic maker at it. That's wonderful. And so in the future, as things progress for you, you have the opportunity to maybe do your own full-time shop, which would be amazing.
That's my dream.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, Valerie, so let me ask you one last thing. You've been in it for 10 months now. Is there anything you would have done different starting, or if you had to give a piece of advice to someone just starting out, what would you give them for advice if they were trying to take the plunge into doing online handmade sales?
I'd say don't be frightened. Just do it. There's really to get into something online, whether it's Go Imagine, which I recommend first of all, or Etsy or what have you. Mm-hmm. There's lots of options that are mostly free to start up, very minimal fees, and you can't really make a mistake. If you screw up, you're going to figure it out, and you're going to get better and better and better and better, and it's fun. And check out, for those of you sellers, if there's sellers out there who are already on Etsy and have not come to Go Imagine yet, oh my God, you have to. It's amazing. These people, John and his team, I have never felt so much support from anybody in my professional world. And I'm grateful to have met you all.
Well, Valerie, I'm grateful that you joined us. That's high praise coming from you, so thank you very much. But I have to admit, when we started Go Imagine, kind of like what you said about starting as a maker, you have to jump in and just do it, and you figure it out as you go. And you know, quite honestly, you don't know what's going to happen when you start any sort of business. You can hypothesize, you can hope, but the only way to find out is to do it. And when we took the plunge and I decided to start Go Imagine, I didn't know what was going to happen. And I have to say that one of the things I'm most excited about is the community of makers who have joined us, because so many makers are helping each other in our group.
Isn't it amazing?
Oh my God. I mean, we have some of them.
There's no catty. You get a bunch of women who are in business and you think they're going to be all catty and nasty, and there's none of that. These people are all, how can I help you succeed? And how can I help you succeed? It's amazing.
It's it's something we hope we continue to breed. I mean, we're calling it the caring economy for two reasons. One, because the goal for the caring economy is to donate our profits to charity and help the world. But we also want to see a caring community of people helping each other, all trying to succeed together, which we're going to get to. So again, I want to thank you, Valerie, for being a part of this. I want to thank you for taking some time to talk with me today. And I guess we'll wrap things up now. So thank you, Valerie. I will see you in the Facebook group, I'm sure, tonight. And you have a wonderful evening.
All right. Thanks a lot, John.
Thanks for your time. Bye, Valerie.
Bye-bye.